Yo, what up? This TLB in the house, the learning bro, and for you guys, I have an exciting announcement. I am revitalizing my channel. Starting now, I'm unlocking my videos that I've made a year and a half ago. So, thing was, I was kind of afraid my content wasn't good enough, and because I was starting out to be like a web developer at the time, and I've been a web developer for a year and a half now since that point. So I think it's a good time right now to kind of show the world where I came and how far I've came. And yeah, I'll figure out how to unlock these videos later, but just to show you, these videos are really good. I'm going to be doing some critiquing of them, and to explain how my thought process has evolved since I made them. And this video was my first video I've made in an attempt to introduce people, look at that face, into web development. Oh, let me switch back to this mode. And yes, these are the videos I'm going to be turning back on. And the first video that I'm going to be like going over and critiquing is this web development one I made a year ago. So yeah, I'm kind of jumping into this really quickly with everything. Just to give a little background, I started this YouTube channel a year ago. Actually, it was a year and a half ago. So it's starting beginning of June 2016. So yeah, a year and a half ago, and I wanted to make a channel about learning how to program. And since then, I have completed most of what I've thought out to do in this video. And if you watch this video, you could kind of see what some of the sources that I lead up to are this Coursera. This Coursera is full stack specialization, which I highly recommend. And that's it's very nice resource because you learn full stack web development through the mean stack, and that's what I talk through here. This whole video is about a lot of different resources, but the biggest takeaway from this video is definitely has to be this full stacks web development specialization. And that's because I was able to do something like this. I was able to use what I learned in this Coursera class and use Angular to make myself a portfolio website. And this is my portfolio website. Check it out. See, boom. So you're looking right here at a year and a half worth of work, essentially, right here in my portfolio site. And you see I got this animate button right here. This is my favorite part. And you can see it goes down. You can check out these. This is called a modal. When you open up a screen, it's a JavaScript function. It pop up through the Bootstrap framework. And the Bootstrap framework is what makes the layout of this page responsive. It uses Bootstrap. See how it switches like that? That's called responsive web design using the Bootstrap framework. But I use Angular framework as a JavaScript framework to make cool stuff like this. See how when I click, it changes dynamically within the page. It changes stuff. So yeah, I use that. I use Angular to make that. And same with here. When I click to here, to my different pages, it dynamically changes within the page. And that's an example of single page applications. And single page applications is what Angular brings to the table. And Angular is a front end framework. See how I have my skills here, front end, back end, other concept. And see, I copied this layout, I copied from this website. See how, from this website. And this Restaurant Confusion, very similar, right? About, menu. This Restaurant Confusion is the site that you make from this Coursera full stack specialization. From the first 3 courses. The first class is your basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Second class is your Bootstrap front end layout framework, responsive layout framework. And the third class is this Angular JS. And the fourth class is going to be in here is mobile web development. With Ionic framework. And then the 5th class, which is a really good class and I haven't gotten to it, is Node.js. And watch this. When I've googled this so many times, Coursera full stack specialization, and then you can just look for yourself. that their curriculum is super dope. It's super set. See, course 2, front end framework AngularJS. That's what I made to make this and to make that. And another thing that this class doesn't teach though is GitHub pages. GitHub.com is where you can. It's an online like folder or repository or directory for your code. Or repository, folder, and directory all mean the same thing. It's a folder for where you store your code. Repository is what GitHub uses, and it's a folder that's online. A directory is usually refers to when you access it through the console, and a folder is just your folder that you see in like a UI, GUI, and from Windows or something like that. That's my understanding of those three. Sidetrack. But anyways, yeah, for this AngularJS, the only thing that this class didn't teach me is how to host my websites onto GitHub. See how it says srelaunching.github.io. So yeah, this Coursera, see how this is my Confusion website. This is Confusion 2. This is this website right here. And this whole bucket, you can just copy and paste this whole thing, and you can store it in your GitHub online repository, and you can host it through GitHub. And you can see how I have this is my online GitHub repository through the GitHub pages and for my portfolio. So yeah, the cool thing about GitHub pages is you can store your projects online and have them like a available URL for you for free, and it's great. And also you get to store your code online through GitHub, and that will allow you to show your employers and just people how much work you've done and stuff like that. And lately I got involved with a open source project, so having GitHub and Git experience is very important. But that's one thing that this Coursera thing doesn't teach you, but you can learn on that on your own eventually. But yeah, this Coursera thing, I'm not even done yet. I'm going to be doing this, the 4th and the 5th classes soon, and I guess I can talk about this later. But yeah, for now, we can go back to my web development video, and yeah, I talk about this Coursera thing here pretty good. And the stuff I also talk about is learn Python the hard way. And Learn Python the Hard Way is really good resource too. I was saying earlier that my biggest takeaway of Learn Python was the hard way was it told me how to separate for beginner coders. It does a good job separating programming logic with programming syntax. And programming logic is like your true and false and if logical statements, and the logic and syntax is your code, that how the code is written in itself. See, when I started off learning coding, this is an interesting video for me because in this video I kind of go over all my process of all the resources that I kind of took a hit with me, that registered stuff that I was able to take away things from, like Learn Python the hard way. Yeah, I took away how to separate syntax and logic. And what the heck? And there's also the other resources. CS50X is a great online course offered through Harvard, and that's another really great introduction to computer science. All of these sources are really good. My thing is, as a web developer, my favorite one ended up being this Coursera Full Stack Specialization, and that's because this Coursera Full Stack Specialization does a great job with holding your hand from the very get-go. Like the first class is completely different from the next one. The first class is like holding your hand one-on-one, like kindergarten style, and then the second and through the 4th and 5th and 6th, you build that Confusion app. So you actually build a real example, and where you can incorporate. You build the Confusion app where you can incorporate into your portfolio. So it does a great job we're transitioning from holding your hand from not knowing anything to holding your hand to building something that they build, to transition to build something you build. And I think that's a key thing, to be able to transition what you learned and to build on your own. So that's really important. So holding your hand along the way, so you are capable of doing it and stuff easily without worrying that you're not going to be taking the wrong path, because this path is a great path. It works really well. I've actually had an interview. I'm applying for jobs lately, and I have recruiters hitting me up all the time because of AngularJS and all the front end skills that I've learned. And yeah, I have a GitHub account. This is like, just look at this guy here. This is a perfect one. Yeah, you should be familiar with Angular concept, controllers, built-in directives, UI routers. Yeah, this is exactly what you learn in this third class. This is not this one. That's the second one. Third class, exactly what you learn. Controllers and MVC and yeah, everything. I know for a fact. Controllers are the biggest thing for all. The MVC, the model view controller, is a programming paradigm. And you'll get into it once you start learning the AngularJS course. And that's why this AngularJS course is really powerful. It's really opened up my eyes on how powerful frameworks are in terms of leveraging the code underneath it. So yeah, let's talk about the code right now. All of this, the main stack, why I like web development, as you can see when I started making this video, this is a year and a half ago, I was still at that stage where I was looking for resources. I was like a sponge trying to absorb everything I can. So that's why I have I started learning Python to begin. See, CS50X teaches C, C#, and it does a great job introducing like computer science concepts. That's what, if you want to learn basic computer science concept, watch the Introduction to CS50 course. If you don't really care about the concept that much, you just want to go straight building, I would recommend going straight into web development. Because think about web development, especially JavaScript web development, you get to learn only one language and you don't have to worry about code. You just have to worry about one code, the whole coding language the whole time. Because JavaScript is able to do so much work on the front end side and the server side. So JavaScript is what I went, and that's why this Coursera full stack JavaScript mean stack specialization is incredible in my opinion, because it gives you all the skills you need to build an application that can store data on the server side and have users, and that can dynamically display it back and forth. It just makes sense to me. Like all this other stuff, I learned Python because my brother was learning Python, and I learned Django with Python, and it was great. But I was turned out because I still needed to learn JavaScript on the front end. And in the beginning, as a beginner, is just so much smarter. I don't even see it. In my opinion, to start it, this is the best way to learn code, because in this model, you first learn HTML and CSS, which are like templating languages. They're not even JavaScript coding, so your brain doesn't have to start to rewire itself to think like a computer. And I don't think a lot of people are used to that. So this class does this first class. You don't even code essentially. You kind of template and stuff. It's really simple in understanding, and that's why I like web development, to learn code, to introduce coding or programming, is because you start off with making basic HTML, just looking websites, just to look and feel, and then you introduce programming functionality through JavaScript and these frameworks. So it's a really good way to lead into teaching stuff. I'm like a gospel when it comes to this full stack web development specialization through Coursera. It's amazing in terms of what the resources. It's just steamrolled my programming career. I can't say anymore. Like lately, what I've been doing is I've been watching. Since I've actually understand Angular and I can make Angular websites like this. I actually understand JavaScript now. I'm going back right now, and I'm watching these. This is my newest hip thing that I'm doing. This Lambda school, it's JavaScript mini bootcamp. And see, after taking this Coursera full stack specialization, after the third class, I'm taking a small break. I'm taking a break because because I realized that I know this Angular framework, but I realized that Angular framework is run by JavaScript, and my JavaScript is weak as hell. Like, I can't even like write a proper function and make function calls, and that just gives me anxiety. So for the last week, I've been making these flashcards, and they're coding flashcards, and I just give coding examples based on his JavaScript coding bootcamp. And coding bootcamp has been great because it gives you homework assignments too, and he does it in the problems he presents are in the views of like employer questions, the question that employers would ask you to see if your basic understanding of JavaScript. So yeah, once you get into a little bit of these frameworks and a little dabbling with HTML and CSS and JavaScript in the grand picture, you can start diving into the details of JavaScript and how you could use the JavaScript to enhance your framework enhanced websites. And I think what a lot of learning resources get wrong is they from day one they jump into, even this guy, he like from day one everyone jumps into assuming that you're a noob, and then you're like just some kind of guru that will understand programming in a day, like the programming concepts in a day. You don't. You understand programming concepts are rewired through your brain through a set of daily coding and like pushing through like a set of a month period. Then you will learn how to code through that. But to start off, you can definitely start off making simple HTML templates. And I'm just thinking from the average Joe Schmo guy. I actually took an IQ test yesterday just because I was bored, and I got 108. So that's just like an average intelligence. So I'm not a genius, and I think the best way to go about learning is in web development or programming, from my experience, is just to learn the basic HTML and CSS, and then slowly start sprinkling in JavaScript. And when you feel like you've learned enough JavaScript, or you're searching for more JavaScript you want to learn, then you dive into the actual language specifics, and like it's like functions and classes, and it's caveats. Alright, well, I don't know how long this video has been. I've been rambling on, but here's my portfolio site. It's pretty dope. I don't know, I'm finishing this JavaScript stuff now. It's been 1.5 years since I made this video. Definitely check out the resources, but don't take stuff for granted, because I know I sound like an idiot a lot of times, and you can bash me in the comment section for that. But whatever, that's why I'm making this video. It's to show you guys that you can do it. You can improve your web development through the online resources that are available to you, and you don't need to go to school to get a 4-year degree to build the projects you want to build. That's what I think is the most important thing, to build your own project. That's what you're doing this for, to be able to build stuff. I think building stuff for yourself is the most important. Alright, well, take care guys. Like, comment, subscribe. T.O.B. Thank you. Respect. Till next time. I can't. This is my first video. I'll get these shit out.